Hi, I'm Jon Savard, and this is,
Avery Laird.
and we're here talking about Avery's song Hairpin that I recorded and mixed here at my studio, second floor recordings. I do love still the fizzy ending with the data
Data
corruptor.
I don't know. I switch every time I say it.
Yeah.
But I do love that pedal.
Yeah, no.
It's a nightmare for you to record.
It is. It's
Almost barely usable.
almost it's really at the point where it might not be fully usable most of the time, which is hilarious because it is such a cool pedal of what it does, and I love, you know me, how much I love like fuzzy, not even fuzzy, just like lo-fi, something's really fucked up or something's really just like not right in context of like a song. And
Yeah,
like
actually,
that works really the best it's ever have in this song. Truly.
yeah, it took me a lot of time to learn how to actually use it. But
Yeah.
we can maybe just solo that right now, like that last part. We can hear what it sounds like.
Okay, let's find it real fast.
That's not it.
That's not it. It's this one right here. I believe, yeah.
This is it.
Yeah. So this is the data corruptor right here. So that's what it does right there.
Yeah.
The hard gate
Yeah.
stuff that I love, and this is that ending right over here.
Well,
too.
not to like get too nerdy about it too, but it
That's
does
it.
that because it doesn't, like, none of the original sound of your guitar is coming out of the data corruptor.
Yeah, no.
It's like an oscillator inside that locks onto the frequency. And so no original sound is coming through.
Nothing is real anymore at that point, for sure. And then we doubled this ending, I'm pretty sure, right?
Uh-huh.
So let's see. I don't think that what other guitar we were listening to was doing it, but I think it's this. Yeah, this is just feedback.
I think that's actually pasted from somewhere else.
Yeah, we might have done no. This was we did 2 takes and one was just cranked during this, and I think because we didn't set up an amp for this, but we used an amp head with a cab sim, so we just had it wailing through the speakers. So I remember this. So and then there's a fade there, but we hear it kind of like we hear them come together and then being a little different right here. They're just both a little bit different from each other, but very similar. They each do just something a little bit different and add a little bit more sauce.
And I am a big fan of that Wildcat tone in general.
Yeah.
The part after... Hold on.
I'm looking at it right now. Epiphone Wildcat. It's a very inexpensive guitar that sounds fantastic.
And after... The first time it comes out is after the first chorus. I think I play the lead part using the Wildcat, and then it just stays in the whole verse, which was like a last-minute game day decision.
Yeah.
We'd never played it that way before, ever.
Yeah, and I have some panning automation is what it looks like. No, I don't. Never mind. Oh, wait, this might not be the right part, but let's see. That's the lead. So, yeah, I have panning automation for sure. So here it is, yeah. So it's the same guitar, sort of, just one's cranked to 11 at the very end, and then it pans over a different time. But the same deal, like I wanted the first time it happens and the second time it happens to be a little bit different. So let's see, I have panning automation for sure. Yeah, so right over here, it is the same kind of takes for sure. they just get a little bit different. And then this one starts with feedback, if I can recall correctly.
I think I can see it right there.
Yep.
Yeah. And it just stays in.
So this one starts with feedback, as you can see right here. This is still in the middle of the song, just after the first chorus. And there's that feedback we were talking about.
Just like solo that top track.
Yeah, and it comes back in again.
And then this single note too is something that we had never done. Like we had never had this in the song before at all. Just kind of one of those things day of.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nod to like bands like Balance and Composure and stuff like that, Title Fight and whatever. Even like a little bit Touche Amore. Like they kind of have that sort of thing going on, even though we're at wildly different genres right now. But part of that, just what it actually does in the track here. Like if we took it out,
nothing.
No,
it's doing so much, and it's really funny that never exists. It never is any of the demos. We never played it live that way.
Not one time.
It was just something I started doing randomly, and it adds so much. I can't imagine the song without it now.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just keeps the momentum going for sure. Because if, not saying like it's a simple song, but like truly, like at the core of the song, you listen to it and you're like, these are just really effective like chords that are sort of being reused, and then we're adding different elements on top of it that are able to be played by other people. We're not like making these crazy production moves or anything like that, but we're adding small little things like this guitar to absolutely transform the next section. And obviously the drums are a lot bigger in this like verse pre-chorus section, I guess you can call it, but we do have a pre-chorus, which is what comes at the end over here. But playing this through, it's still the same chords, but now we have this guitar just going the whole time. Why would we take it out? It all fits really, really well, even though it's like it is 5 guitars playing at that point.
Well, and that's where I also really like that other part. That's actually a part you wrote. It's like the lower track.
The lead right here.
Yeah.
And it's to play off your vocal part.
And you started playing that at some of the last live shows we did.
Yeah, right? I just was playing it because we didn't have anything necessarily set in stone before we started playing it.
I think you also told me it's because you didn't forgot the part, right? You didn't know the part?
I forgot the last chord in the rotations of the choruses, because it's not a power chord, it's a different kind of shape, and for whatever reason I just kept forgetting it. But
it's the Alex G chord.
Yeah, it's the Alex G chord. And at the practices I was like playing it fine, and then like the last practice we had before the show I was just like, I forget this chord, and I was always playing this thing as a lead at the very end anyway. So it was just like, why don't we bring it back in? And then we also have, all these other leads going on top of it. And all of it just seemed to fit really, really nicely, because this is distortion. These are fuzz. And like even the main guitars that are playing it are like a overdrive. So we have like all these different sections that have these nice different balancing of tones, even though like it does feel like a big wall of sound, but you can really hear and feel the differences in the movements of each part as they go. So like bringing it from back here. I take it out. It doesn't feel like the same thing anymore. It's just the vocal being balanced with this guitar, I feel like is really important, just because it is playing that hook you are singing, twisted around.
It's like a echo of the solo part.
It is,
like
yeah.
if you go to the end.
It's like everybody's doing the same movement, but and it echoes it again. And here it is again.
Yeah, again, like something that is pretty quiet, but and also was not for the like vast majority of the lifetime of this song was not a part of the song, but now it's like I don't know. I can't imagine this song without it. It's got to be in there.
Especially once your vocal leaves, and as you can see right here, I have this pan automation to make those guitar parts a little bit bigger, a little bit more wide. Spreading it out, it's not going full left, right here. It's like still in the middle of the track. It's 46 and 46. I have the other guitars, the rhythm guitars, those are full left, full right, because I wanted those to be the wide stereo image here. But when we get there, it really does open it a lot. Like you can really feel that transition. So it's not big, but it's enough. Because before, if we kept that in the center, it just wouldn't have, punched as much as I wanted. Just more up the center. You can hear, maybe you can hear that line a little bit more forward, but now everybody else's line that's kind of mimicking that is now it's just one guitar versus now you hear all three guitars. The bass doing it as well, because the bass has its own little run right at the end here, which
yes. Okay, let's do the bass part.
Yeah.
I love this part.
It's one small bass part that happens just the one time, and it's I love it.
I spent so much time trying to get that right.
It's such a silly thing because I don't think the bass changes ever in this song. The bass is so foundationally heavy, and it keeps us just going the whole time because, like I said, I'm thinking about Doolittle from Pixies. Yes, there's a lot of movement in bass and stuff like that, but a lot of the great songs off that record, it is so solid. It's not necessarily not deviating. It is playing its own thing, but it's not showing off, and this was just one little thing. Might as well. Like it is a distracting thing. It pokes out, and it's like you couldn't really do that with the chorus vocal, or else it's just like, who are we supposed to be listening to, right? So it's a balance of having fun parts, especially in bass. I always am an advocate for the bass playing something not wildly different, but not necessarily playing the root notes. But this song specifically was calling for us to do the root notes the whole time.
Did I use my bass on this song?
I think so.
That does sound like my bass.
A lot of this record's recorded with like a 70s made in Japan bass, but it's very tubby. I have flat wounds on it. It's like the flat wounds are like maybe 40 years old.
Yeah.
And they're just so round. You can't get that kind of sound. It just sounds like more of like a sludgier, buzzier bass. But this
bass is also was in D standard.
Yeah.
So it's a whole step down than most basses would be. And if you play the like beginning part again, you can hear it like flapping. Yeah, just there's no way you'd get that on even an E standard bass. It's so goofy sounding.
Yeah, it is so goofy. I remember I had you play as you go down tuned with a bass. If you don't have thick enough strings, you really have to start playing closer to the bridge so it stays in tune. So you don't have to like do too much tuning after the fact. Especially if we're tracking ahead, I didn't want to tune a already tracked through an amp head, because that sounds really ridiculous. So in this, you can see that we have two different things. I did commit it, I think. I did commit is what it says right here, but I did use an amp sim on the bass. I used the SVT amp sim, but then we also used my Mills Custom guitar amp as the main bass head here, which we can hear how different those sound. This is the Mills. Lots just fat, lots of like articulation in the low end. And this is me cranking the SVT plugin for sure. It sounds great. Like the two of those together, it's just take one out. It's just not a full amp for sure. Like I know I did that purposefully because I wanted more clang than I could get out of that bass head. And I think when we first tracked it, I didn't want it. But then when we started adding all these guitars, I'm like, well, the bass really needs to start cutting through. So obviously we have some plugins. Classic. This was something that I actually got from these settings here. Anybody that cares. Around, what am I getting? Yeah, it was 10 to 7 dB of gain reduction, but I was told that these settings, that if you don't know what you want to do on a bass guitar for like compression settings, like attack and release, even though like I do know what I want to do with it, but I remember this was a long time ago, somebody showed me this when I was like first starting out. They called it 10 and 2, like when you're driving, because it's...
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, when you think about it that way, it's like, well, you're driving 10 and 2, that means you're focused. So in a way, like, yeah, I could probably change the release a little bit and the differences would be very negligible, but the 10 and 2 setting on distorted bass, for whatever reason, this is a stupid mixing or production thing, but it's just so incredibly consistent that if you're like, you want to not have to do, like, it's doing more with less. So it's like I didn't want to run 5 different compressors to see which one was the best. I knew this was going to work, and obviously I have every kind of 1176 plugin under the sun. A lot of people that I know, we go back and forth of like, I think the Waves one's still the best one, but it is what it is. And then obviously Brainworks stuff, SSL, and then little bit of the tubbiness in there, which is probably didn't need to happen, but at the time I was like, that needed to happen. So, but overall, putting all those things together, like if I take this out, like they are distorted and we're losing a little bit of volume, but what it is doing is really controlling the clang and the low end together. It's just very much gluing it really, really nicely. And like I do a lot of blending with DI and a lot of blending with real guitars and stuff like that. But in this context, it was like I'm blending 2 amps together to make this one, which I think was very interesting. If you do listen closely, you can hear that low D kind of clanging around, which is very, very funny. I didn't even realize how much it was doing that until now. I mean, that's which is very fun.
That's the secret sauce for all of my bass tracks. I play all my guitars are in D standard, all my basses are in D standard, and I do think it just sounds better. There's something about it.
I think partially why I played this guitar lead originally was because I wasn't in D standard. I think that's why.
That probably is why.
Because when I was playing it on my on the guitar, when I was playing it, this is specifically tracked on the Wildcat. When I'm playing it on the Wildcat, it's just follow the dots.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing with that line. It's a Green Day line. It's a Rise Against line. Like it's just octaves and moving around, and then I have the Bigsby right at the end. So that's very funny. I didn't even realize that's why I was doing that. It's been so long since we did this, so. And then we could talk about vocal land here for a second, too.
Yeah, I think this is just 2 layered together.
Yeah, it's just 2 layered together. I'm a big advocate for harmonies in choruses, so that's what we have here. On your hairpin, I'm twisted around, lost again, feeling of the season.
So hard to hit that high note. When we play it live, I always have to yell it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very hard for me to hit the soft one. But yeah, in the studio, we just did a bunch of takes.
We just did a bunch of takes, and we were trying to find... Yeah, we were trying to find the combination of doing what kind of harmony that we do where. Because a lot of great harmonies aren't even necessarily following the same meter of that vocal, like they're kind of following like their own. They're like either singing the same note the whole time and then moving randomly, or they're just wildly different. And like this is like a combo of that where we have a different pattern where the vocal is going versus like it just constantly following thirds or something like that, which is this is roughly following thirds, but then we go to a fifth in there and it's just like all of it together. And like we have this slap delay going on, which is just a chorus echo from Safari plugins or Safari pedals, and just on your so we're at third still. And then we have this part here. So like that very last one goes back down instead of following up with the main vocal and stuff like that. So
and for my own production taste, I'm usually like leaning towards just less processing in general.
Yeah.
I like a slap. Sometimes a reverb, but maybe not even a reverb.
There's a lot of this record and a lot of specifically this track. We put all the reverb onto the drums with that. With the gated reverb from my Yamaha SPX90. You see the SPX90 or the Rev 7. They both have the same settings of everything on there. They sound a little bit different, but the things that have the main amounts of reverb are like the guitars. We're using guitar pedals, so they're probably having some reverb on them, or they have amp reverb, and then the drums. And I always like contrast in songs where we have things that are either super dry or super wet and far beyond everything. So you just have this cool, like, oh, vocal is like really front and center here, and then drums are all the fucking way back there. Versus this song, it's kind of like you and the drums are almost in the same spot. And like we kind of did a lot of this record that way as well. Like we were just like, let's not have the vocal directly in your face. Let's have it be aggressive and then like kind of within the whole track. Because now you're listening to the whole song all together. You're not just listening to the lyrics. You're listening to lyrics, but you're not just listening to that. Like you're really feeling the whole track and stuff like that. Like everything that we did is important and everything that we did needs to be highlighted purposefully. And that is why like I don't go overboard with your vocals specifically. I don't go overboard. I like you see one send here that's on and is to what I call the 501 because that's what this is modeled after. And it's just this. I don't even have the reverb on. Like it's literally one single repeat really, really fast. What is that at? 116 milliseconds. That's probably way too slow, but that's what felt good in that moment. And then like for the other like amount of processing, it's pretty normal stuff. Like we would track this with my Upton 251 into a Neve pre. And then it's like I'm adding it back in here with more distortion with the Neve pre from Lindell of Plugin Alliance. And then Waves 1176, like just all these things. I think I had these on because we were tracking. And I needed things that were zero latency. So I was just like, I want to be able to have these on when we're tracking and then get the sound as we're tracking, which is a lot of what I do. And a lot of what we did for this song too. Yeah. Like I printed the reverb for the drums because I didn't want to have to send it again like afterwards. So like we did each take with this reverb going. And as you can see, like it's all part of it. I have the edits and stuff right there too. Like we got every sound that we wanted going in and then everything else that we did after the fact. Obviously, maybe I didn't have him tracking with the echo, but we were just like, you add one thing and you want to make sure it sounds really, really good. We start somewhere. I don't remember exactly where we started. I think we started with Ryan on drums and then you playing a scratch guitar, maybe? Or did we have scratch takes before we even started tracking?
I think we might have done live off the floor in the sense of Ryan on drums, me playing guitar and singing at the same time to get like a reference going. Then I went back and I overdubbed the left to right guitars.
Yep.
And then we had like a single day dedicated to just doing the vocal overdubs.
Yeah, okay. And you remember a lot better than me, for sure. I don't really remember.
And yeah, I think for this whole record in general, there's like two flavors of vocals that are good. One is like this, which is basically very upfront and just like a bit of slap at most, but it sounds mic'd. And then there's another flavor that is like in a room. For this kind of music, I just love having as little between, the what you hear in the end and what was recorded as possible.
Yeah. Because, in this track specifically, like nothing's really over-processed. Like if I even go to this vocal and I go over here real fast just to show, like I'm boosting like a bit of what all looks like low mids going into this compressor and stuff like that. And then this top end EQ and a little bit even more low mids. And then a de-esser. Like that's pretty nothing, right? And then even the guitars, like let's talk about guitars right here. The one, like we got the sound that we wanted, a little bit of EQ. Same here, soothe and EQ, and then different EQ here because I love this one specifically for this band specifically. Anybody that knows it's just like really, really nice. What did I use this for? I use this for all the leads. Like I would like everything that we did for this track too. Like in a lot of what we did, like I didn't spend days and days and days trying to find out the right thing. I was like, what feels the best once everybody is together? And I don't mix one thing at a time. I put everything up and I'm like, okay, what do I want out of everything? So like I'll start going through buses and stuff like that, and then I will listen to everything at a time, but it's because I've already listened to everything together after we've tracked it, and I'm like, okay, now I want a little bit extras of these things. So everything I do is within context, which is why I'm not soloing and listening to this guitar over and over and over again, trying to find everything that's actually hurting me. It's always like, maybe like some brightness, get rid of some brightness, get rid of some body. It looks like I'm cutting the same 2.5 and then what's this right here 2.6. Like it's just stuff that I'm doing really, really fast. I'm not even thinking, I'm just listening and doing what I have to do there. And then the most processing on any track here is hilariously the drum rooms, and the only reason why it's got 4 plugins on is because I'm adding another reverb on top of my room mics, and then like I'm probably cutting out all the top end, cutting out all top end, everything that's hissing. I definitely use condensers. This was probably the first time I used these microphones in this room, and I realized that they're way too bright. But like nothing is like this whole track, nothing is over-processed. And a lot of this record too, nothing is like feeling like it's over-processed. We liked to talk about like this sound of things sounding expensive, which was something that I always kept in mind while we were tracking, because it's just like the things that sound expensive are actually like, well, we're talking about how well that they were recorded. And
I think a good example would be the Radiohead records from the 90s.
Yeah.
Is a really good. That's the first thing I always think of. Those sound so expensive.
The second Leg in a Talk record, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a few of those, and I'm just like, I heard it recently, not realizing it was an old record. I'm like, wow, this sounds expensive, and I love that like high fidelity kind of thing that's in those records. So we kind of balanced a lot of vibe and a lot of that, like hi-fi kind of things. Like
I would say in general too that hi-fi is like of a decade, like it's of a time and also of a genre. A lot of this record is kind of meant to be like early 2000s, like alt rock kind of, something you'd hear in like a teen movie from, the 98 or like early 2000s. And that was a time when they were specifically trying to make expensive records. And like expensive sounding records. Now, even really big artists with like unlimited resources are sometimes trying to make a lo-fi record. They're specifically going for a lo-fi sound. I think it's coming back. There's guitar rock music now. It's getting more and more popular.
Fuck yeah. Guitar leads. Like that's like my thing is anything 2000s that like had a guitar melody and they thought about it and they added like a cool effect to it that just sounded great. Every Dinosaur Jr. lead ever, just fucking awesome, super fuzzed out or not fuzzed out. Like he's got some leads that aren't super fuzzed out, and I'm like, these rock. Just like the thought about it, and like obviously we've thought about this lead that we've been doing like a whole lot to the point that we wanted it to sound so much bigger. super simple lead, and it's just so effective, and it sounds giant in this track. It's amazing. Like, I truly love it for that reason. Not because we played it, but because I truly love it. And I truly believe in it. Yeah.
Part of it too is like the chords in this song are deceptively complicated.
Yeah.
Or they're not complicated.
Talking about that Alex G chord specifically.
Alex G chord. Well, in general, like they are. I think the best way to hear it is if you solo some of the guitars in the bridge part, like the pre-chorus part. Yeah. They're complex in the sense, like they're not power chords. I love power chords, but they have a little bit more in them, which makes the lead kind of more explosive, I guess, a little more interesting.
So here's those. This is the part you're talking about?
Yeah. Like maybe if you just solo one of them.
Yeah, sure. So we'll go back a little bit further. And as you can hear, the guitars are both doing a little bit of different things too. Yeah. Like you hear the movement on one side more than you hear the movement on the other side, but they're both playing two different things. So bring that back in. But yeah, like that also being why I didn't remember how to play the lead at the end, but like it's the same chord, but it's just a little bit different, right? Like obviously I could have learned the guitar part, but it was more fun for me to go. Because I had a Bigsby. I didn't want to play the other chords with a Bigsby.